What is going on, my Hound Doom pack? Oftentimes, whenever people find out what I do as far as buying and selling Pokemon cards goes, they often have several questions. Where are you selling these? Where are you buying them from? What prices are you getting them at? Today, I want to go over one avenue in which that you can buy and sell cards and make profit. The one I'm going to go over today, which is probably the least luxurious, is buying bulk and selling it on TCG Player. And I am going to go into detail in today's video about how to do just that. Before we begin, I just want to say if you have not, go ahead and like this video, please, and also subscribe. We have a 1K giveaway, and it is the only thing you have to do is go subscribe to the channel, and you'll be entered to win this PSA 10 Crown Zenith Pikachu, the Secret Rare, and an Astral Radiance pack. One lucky winner will get these. Please subscribe, help us grow, and there will be more giveaways in the future, I can assure you. Let's reach that 1K subscriber goal. So you want to sell Pokemon cards for a consistent flow of money. The first thing that you need to do is obviously join TCG Player. You can sign up very easily and start selling almost right away. I believe there is some verification on ID, tax information, social security number, stuff like that, but it is very simple and easy to get through. After you've done that, well, you might say, well, where am I going to get these bulk cards from? If you're already collecting Pokemon cards, well, it should be pretty easy. The bulk that you have left from the packs, the non-hits, the reverse hollows, the regular hollows, those are all going to be your starting point. And I'll explain just how that goes and how you're going to make money on those a little bit later on. Another avenue you might say is like, I want to start selling, but I don't actually have a collection. Well, then what you need to do is find people via Facebook groups. I would join all of the Pokemon Facebook groups that you can. Really, the main ones is locally, so you can meet up and get that Pokemon bulk without them being sent in the mail. Try to network to get bulk, which is pretty easy. Also, look on your Facebook marketplaces. And then even like certain card stores may be willing to sell some bulk to you or have bulk boxes in which you can look through to find cards that you want to sell. So you can access these cards just by simply looking around and looking to buy some from basically anybody. I would say that if you're going to make good judgment, if you think that the bulk is heavily sifted through already, I probably wouldn't buy it, especially at a high rate. Maybe go lower with your rates as far as how much you're paying for commons, uncommons, hollows, reverses, etc. With that being said, bulk pricing, how much should you be paying for bulk if you don't already know the prices in which most people pay, or a competitive price so that maybe you get the bulk and someone does not. I would say that I've seen a range of numbers. Shops are usually paying between like $5 and $7 for regular non-foil commons and uncommons per thousand. So it's $5 to $7 per thousand car regular commons and uncommons. And there's a little bit higher of a price for them for the reverses and rares, hollow rares, etc. However, someone that doesn't own a card shop, they're usually going to pay a little bit more so that someone doesn't just go drop off their bulk at the card shop. I've seen prices usually range between $8 and $10 per regular common, uncommon thousand, and then $2 to $3 per 100 hollows or reverse hollows. So if you can easily, for about 80 well, really about $70 to $80, maybe even a little bit less. Get about between 5 and 8,000 cards. Someone has between let's say someone has 8,000 cards. Well, they're most likely going to have about 2,000 um, reverses and hollows combined, maybe a little bit less. And usually the predominant amount they're going to have is that 6,000 bulk regular commons and uncommons. So that tells you a little bit about how to get started if you're not already started, um, and just where to go, what sort of prices to try to pay. And I think that will lead you down a good path to start. So the next thing we're going to move on to is you're going to be thinking, how am I going to make a profit on this bulk cards? These people didn't want them. I paid a relatively cheap price for them. How am I going to move these? And the best answer is it does depend and vary on your situation. As for me, my bare minimum that I want an order to sell for in totality is 77 cents for the actual order, meaning it could be one card, two cards that add up to 77 cents. And then my shipping rate is $1.31. Now, sometimes it costs me a little bit more to ship a card, and sometimes it costs me a little bit less to ship a card, depending on how many cards. There's varying factors. How you're going to be shipping these cards most of the time, unless it is a really big order, for probably, I would say, $20 plus, is a plain white envelope. If you don't know what that means or how to package something in a plain white envelope, I would suggest that you look up a YouTube video on how to ship via plain white envelope. There's probably several of them out there. Maybe I will do one in a short soon to show just how I package up these. But back to the bare minimum sales, if I'm selling a card for 77 cents, or two cards that add up to 77 cents, or three cards that add up to 77 cents, and then paying $1.31 in shipping, ultimately, after everything is said and done, fees get taken out for TCG Player. I added my taxes that I pay, what I paid for the stamp and the materials to send this card, and what I paid for the card, which usually, if you're buying in bulk, is usually between maybe 3 or 4 cent per card. I'll make a quarter. For some people, that's not going to be enough. You're going to say, well, how do you make a decent amount of money doing this if you're just making a quarter off each order? Well, I'll go into that in a moment. It's I am not saying that selling on TCG Player is luxurious at all. It is a lot of work. After you add up all your hours and how much you put into it, you're going to be doing a lot of hours. You're going to be doing a lot of sorting, a lot of packaging, and you're probably going to end up making less than the person that works at your local fast food chain. But over time, it will bring in funds enough to where you can go bigger, buy more bulk, and soon you'll be getting orders where you profit a lot bigger. So I'll go into that. And that would be multi-card orders. As I said, sometimes people will buy cards 1, 2, 3, and as long as they add up to 77 cents and then they pay the shipping, then I'm good on making the 25 cent. However, the larger your TCG Player order and your larger your TCG Player account grows in inventory, the bigger the selection of cards that you have, the more likely that it is that a person is going to um, buy multiple cards off your store. So a person all of a sudden isn't just ordering that 40-cent card where you don't make any profit. They're ordering 8 to 10 to 20, 40 to 70-cent cards. And all of a sudden, you're making a lot more profit because you can ship them all in one envelope. You can get them metered at the post office, in which you'll pay less for shipping than just adding 2 or 3 stamps to something like that. And you can usually ship between 4 and 6 cards in a plain white envelope under 178-cent stamp. So if you're not getting the picture, it's pretty simple. A person orders 8 cards. Each card is 50 cents a piece. That's $4, and then you're charging them $1.31 for the shipping. So you're not really paying for shipping; they are. That's going to be a lot more than a 25-cent profit. So grow your inventory. List as many cards as you possibly can. The bare minimum card on there may be 5 cents. And you're like, well, how am I going to make someone buy the same card for 25 or 30 cents? It all comes with building the inventory. That person that's selling that card for 5 cents may only have those cards and no other card that that person is really interested in. All of a sudden, this person gets an order for 5 cents, and they're going to be pretty disappointed with that. Whereas you have the same card for 25 cents, but you also have 3 other cards for 50 cents that these people want. So the orders can build up, and over time, you're going to discover that most people are going to order more than one card. They're going to hit your ratios more often than not. You just have to build an inventory, list as many things as you can at a price that you're comfortable with, that's also competitive, and go from there, and you will have a lot of success. You might be asking me, okay, well, that's great. You want me to list all these cards, but what cards should I be looking out for? How do I know if a card is ever going to sell? Well, I would start by saying that, first of all, that every single card in the bulk has some sort of value to someone. Everyone is a collector of something, a collector of a certain Pokemon. Whether you want to have 10 pages of a regular common Magikarp from Hidden Fates, or you want to have a page full of gold stars, something is worth something to somebody. So that is something you have to pay attention to whenever building your inventory and listing cards. But if you're saying, well, I don't want to start out listing a bunch of 25-cent cards or 10-cent cards, I want to know what to look for that may be worth more in the 8,000 bulk that I have purchased off of Facebook. And that's where knowledge comes into play. And I'm going to discuss a couple places in which you can get that knowledge or research that knowledge. The first one is, I would say, a secondary source, and that would be Limitless TCG. You can look up Limitless TCG. That has a ton of up-to-date big tournament results for people who play Pokemon competitively, and their deck list, what they put in their deck. You can go in there, look at those cards, and start finding them in the bulk, because those are things that people are going to need multiple copies of most of the time to play the game. So people are going to be ordering those in more quantities than one, most often than not. And it gives you a perspective on the playable side of selling Pokemon cards. What playable cards are selling for? Um, and then the second, another and probably the most important source of knowledge is TCG Player itself. You want to go into Pokemon, go to advanced search, go common. You'll have a section that you can pick common, uncommon, rare, um, any sort of variation of card that you want to look up. And then you can search it, and you can put your sorting to best selling or highest price. So say that you want to know what is the best selling trainer card right now on TCG Player site, what's moving the fastest. You can go into the advanced search, put in trainer, put in common and uncommon trainers, whatever you would like, press search, press best selling, go to sort best selling, and it'll show you right there, pages upon pages of what is selling, what is doing the best, and that way you can possibly list those things first, or sort for those things first, list those, and get your profits up and running. Last thing I'm going to touch on is just my experiences so far selling on TCG Player. I've been selling on TCG Player for probably 4 or 5 years. Dealing in bulk, I've probably been doing it for about a year or a little bit over a year, which isn't a lot, but I've been selling for a while. And then the success that I've had in the past year or year and a half has really solidified my thoughts on it as a consistent stream of income, albeit a lot of work. Now, just in my experiences, and speaking from my experiences alone, I've had days where I wake up in the morning, go out through my day. I usually package up orders at night. I'll sit there, and all throughout the day, I'll get 14 orders where I'm only profiting on each 14 on each of those 14 orders 25 cents. And that can be kind of disheartening. You're like, well, what am I really doing? Um, because I'm not really making much. I'm putting a lot of work into this, and it comes down to, each day is a new day. I've also had numerous days, like a ton of days, especially since I built my inventory up. Right now, I have about 5,000 cards inventoried, that I'll go throughout the day and I will have, orders of like 20, I'll have 10, 15 orders where people have ordered 10 to 20 cards from me at 50 cents, a dollar 50, and those orders really add up. You have a good day, you make, a good amount of profit on the day for just being one avenue in which you're selling Pokemon. If you, in this one avenue out of the several avenues that I'm going to address in other videos, if you're making $100 a day on TCG Player, $700 a week, that is great just for that one avenue that you're putting your metaphoric like eggs into that basket. There's other ways that I'm also making money, and we're going to go through those as this channel progresses. Um, so, just to summarize, get on TCG Player, find some bulk, list the prices that you are comfortable with. Get out there and do the work. So, with all that being said, that's where I'm going to end it here. If you'd like me to make a follow-up to this video explaining in even more detail about things concerning selling on TCG Player, please comment anything that you would like me to address. Also, if you haven't already, please check my bio on my channel, and please visit my website, Pokedoom Collectibles. Also, if you want to buy off me off TCG Player, my TCG Player name, because I cannot link it yet, is TDS Cards INC. Please subscribe, like, let's grow this channel. And at 1K, we will give away that PSA 10 Pikachu and Astral Radiance card. Y'all take care out there. See you later, Pack.